What is happening, everyone? Happy Saturday, Destiny. It looks like that I'm already sounding a little funny. Do I sound funny? It looks like I am a little bit. Wait, what? I can like really hear that. What's up, everyone? How you guys doing? Happy Saturday. I'm going to continue to say my spiel while Destiny figures out how I sound. So she just left the stream. Hope you guys are all having a great weekend. Tonight, we're talking some Scream spoilers. It is going to be one hell of a night. How do I sound, everybody in the chat, by the way? Do I sound funny, or is this, again, just on Destiny's end? So she should be back here in just a second. Let me let her back in. All right, let's try this again. How do I sound?
You sound good. Hold on, I want to try something really quick.
Okay.
Now start talking.
Yo, what up?
Wait, try again.
Hello. And your thing just went out again. Your camera.
God, I don't know why they're so stupid.
It's always when we're live. It's like I sound fine when we're not live. And then we go live and I guess sound bad.
Yeah, it's like every time you hit like the video to play before, that's what messes it up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like around the chat it looks like that everything else sounds good. So, can you hear me? Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, you just sound quiet on my end.
Okay.
That's why I wanted to wear these, but they're not freaking working.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh well.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're gonna have to like lean in and like listen to what I'm saying. Like,
I know.
No, guys, but tonight we're talking some Scream. I'm looking at some box office numbers right now, or I shouldn't say we're talking some Scream. We've been talking about Scream pretty much for like the last 2 weeks here on this channel. Tomorrow I'm going to be ranking the killers of Scream. And then on Monday night for Fear Freaks, Destiny and Destiny has been on my channel so many times since Fear Freaks has began. And we're going to be doing Fear Freaks on Monday. We're going to be ranking the entire franchise. We're going to give our thoughts and everything. But looking at Scream's box office numbers right now, it is doing really well. It's got $36 million today, and it's a Saturday. So I'm really curious to see what the remainder of the weekend is going to look like in terms of, what it's going to make. I'm guessing it's going to probably cross 50 million. I'm going to say the final weekend is probably going to be about 58. I'm going to say it's going to snag about another 20 within like the next day and a half or so.
That would be nice. That would be very freaking cool.
I know, right? I love how like down on the bottom of the like in the bottom left it says Cream movie review or Cream movie because the S is obviously blocked off. But yeah, so everyone in here, just so you guys know, if you guys cannot tell by the title, we are talking spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, turn this off, go see the movie, then come back and listen to our spoiler-filled review. If you guys don't give a fuck, welcome. And you guys just want to be spoiled, whatever. But who we got here in the chat? Good Real Hunting, how you doing, man? Lamontre, how are you? We got Rocky Balboa himself in the chat. Aaron Click, how you doing? And that's about everyone I see. Save Robbie, what's going on, man? How are you? Thank you guys all for being here to talk some Scream spoilers. So make sure that, you guys can comment whatever you guys want in this stream. Not whatever you guys want. There's going to be some limitations, but you guys can post whatever you guys want in terms of the Scream movie. You guys can tell us what your thoughts are, favorite scenes, lines, whatever. I don't even know where to start with this thing. Should we just kind of like try to be as accurate flow wise and go through the entire movie as possible?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Destiny, the beginning. What'd you think? Jenna Ortega as Tara. What did we think of the opening of Scream of this one compared to say some of the other or the other 4 Scream movies, really?
You know what? I really enjoyed this opening because it's definitely, it feels closest to the original, and they did that, I'm sure, on purpose. There's a lot of parallels to Casey from the original, which I loved. So to me, this felt closest to the original. I am a fan. Like, I love all the openings, but I think this one definitely takes the cake. Definitely doesn't beat the original because the
Hmm.
original will always be number one.
For
But
sure.
in terms of openings, I think this might honestly be my second favorite, just because I love how, it has just like that Scream vibe. It starts off with someone who she thinks is her mom's new boyfriend because she hasn't met him yet. And it's a casual conversation, and she's texting her friend Amber, and then the guy on the phone, he starts to become more like aggressive and talking about the stab movies, and she's saying she's not familiar. And then finally, she realizes that this is not her mom's new boyfriend. Something weird's going on. And they started talking about like elevated horror, and her favorite movie is The Babadook, which I was not expecting that answer. So whenever she said it, it made me laugh. But you were talking about horror movies and
I
the
got a
stab
chuckle out of that
movies.
too. Yeah, I got a
Yeah,
chuckle out
and
of that.
the stab part, the stab trivia questions, that's so much fun because that's also for, obviously like the original, this is for us fans to play, but especially for like genuine fans of the Scream franchise. Like, I had so much fun guessing them and like telling my boyfriend, like whispering in his ear because he like look at me to see if I knew the answer. So that was just so much fun, and I think it's a very tense opening. It's brutal. It shows you how brutal the movie is going to be. I mean, she gets stabbed. She gets fucking stabbed in her hand, right through the hand. I was just like, oh my god, we're going for it. And I really like this opening because, as we find out later, she doesn't die. And when you really think about it, it makes sense that she wouldn't die because they need her to get to Sam. And so I love the opening. I thought it was great. Hey, stop fighting! My cats are fucking fighting each other right here, like full on. Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, I gotta agree with you, and it looks like in the chat here across the board, everyone is saying that Jenna Ortega was fantastic in the beginning, and I gotta say she really did nail the performance like throughout the entire opening. You
Mm-hmm.
could see the more. I mean, honestly, like if that was me, I'm not gonna lie, and like it was just like my mom's boyfriend who I hadn't met yet. I probably would have hung up, like,
Yeah.
sooner rather than later. Like, I would have probably been like, all right, yeah, she's not home. I'll talk to you later, or we'll meet sometime. But I mean, I can also understand, that it was like smart. And so apparently there was one thing that happened that I missed, at least, because I've only seen this movie once. I saw it Thursday
Mm-hmm.
night. I know there's a couple of you here in the chat that I know I'm friends with on social media that said that they were going to see it again. I hope you guys had a lot of fun seeing it for a second time today, or yesterday, or whenever it is you saw it. But there was one thing I really want to go back and watch, and I saw this on Thursday night with my buddy Misael and my sister Riley, and I must have been the only one that missed it. It was like when she was like leaning on the counter and she was like on the phone, and like there was like a dolly shot over to the door. Apparently, a door opened, and I missed it. Like
Ooh.
and I was trying to examine the frame like as much as I could, because like they had the dark room behind her, and like I thought that maybe we were gonna see him or something. Or like there was honestly a few shots like throughout like where I thought like you were gonna see him like run by or whatever. So it was interesting to like my buddy. He was like, dude, I like, did you just see that? I was like, no. He's like, yeah, that door just opened or whatever. I'm like, are you serious? Like, he was like, it was very subtle, but like maybe he was just seeing stuff, but I didn't catch it. Like, I really thought I would have caught it. It could be that my eye shifted from the door back to her to try and listen to what she was
Mm-hmm.
saying and everything. But yeah, like that also like would make sense, like as to how maybe someone was in the house later, like because like I'm honestly convinced that both of them were there like at the same time. I'm like
Yeah.
positive that both of the killers, like we're not going to talk about the killers yet, but I'm positive that both of them were there at the same time, if that's the case, at least. Like I
No,
feel.
that 100% makes sense. I think they would have to both be there because, like, when we got off the stream the other night, I was saying one of them's on the phone. The other one is the one that's really doing this because there's a scene when she's talking on the phone, backing away into that dark doorway, and Ghostface pops out.
Mhm.
Well, there's no way that Ghostface could be on the phone because you'd be able to hear him talking on the phone. So
Mhm.
someone else is on the phone. very
Yeah.
much like the original. You know,
Mhm.
one's mainly, well, all of them really, but they're both there. But one's doing the calls, the other one's more doing, I
The
guess,
killing,
yeah, the
the
physical part
stabbing,
of it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. That makes sense, and I'm not gonna lie, there's one of them, and when we get to, talk about the reveal and everything like that, like, there are some things I wanna say about both of the killers, so obviously, guys, there are 2 killers in this movie. Kind of anticipated that, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think that there was just gonna be 1. Like, Scream 3 is the only one that still only has 1 killer, which is,
But technically, had to, because Angelina was the second killer, and they had already shot some of the movie before they had cut the second killer. So I think it's kind of fun to watch it with the fact that Angelina's the second killer and Roman just kills her to just have it be him in the
yeah.
end.
Yeah. No, I mean that is interesting, but yeah, and I honestly like that though. I like how like that's one thing I will give it that I like about Scream 3 is that there is only 1 killer. They change it up, a little bit, or at least with the reveal and everything. Um, but yeah, no, this opening I thought was honestly amazing, and I didn't think that they were gonna go in and just kill an actress like Jenna Ortega right away. Then again, people back when Scream came out didn't think that Drew Barrymore was just going to get axed right away. So that was a very interesting twist as to, that was integral to keep her alive for the rest of the movie, to get Sam to go to Woodsboro. And like the whole thought of it, it's like, just like you got to think like from the killer's perspective, just the thought that goes into this, because it's like one false move like to like where you seem out of place and boom, your cover's blown. So I will say every single Scream movie, all of the killers are able to just like remain as calm as they can until it's like, all right, bitch, it's game on and we're gonna reveal ourselves.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I thought that that was a very interesting, like, unique way to go to keep the opening kill alive, because obviously, like, it has that classic Scream opening, right? Like where it's like you get the knife and then
Oh
boom,
my
and it was like
God.
Scream, like it was like that was awesome. I
It was so
loved it,
cool.
and like I literally had chills
Uh-huh.
as like the title like came onto the screen because I was like, let's go.
Yes, I know. As soon as it did, I was like, "Oh my God, like we're really in. Like, oh my God. This is fucking happening right now."
Yep.
It was
Yep.
so awesome.
And it was perfect too, because like he literally like came down and like leaned down, and like the whole shot of everything about it was perfect.
Mhm.
And it really felt like Wes Craven was literally directing it. Like, I mean, that's like one thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I didn't know, say like, I'm like new to horror and whatever, and I didn't know who directed it, I would have assumed actually that Wes Craven directed this movie as well.
Mhm.
But that's just me. There are some different styles of stuff, but at the same time, a director can also elevate his directing style compared to what they're trying to do. So, but that, I mean, that's just me. People can call me crazy, but I just had Scream vibes throughout this entire movie. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yes.
Um,
It's actually kind of surprising to see. I've seen people say like this doesn't feel like a Scream movie at all. I completely disagree. I feel like so much of this feels like a Scream movie. They include stuff from other Scream movies, stuff, that just fits right at home in the Scream franchise that we're so used to, and they used it, and I was so happy with little things that really plays a big part of this franchise. I completely agree. I feel like this definitely felt like a Scream movie, and to me, it honestly feels like the most Scream like of the Scream movies. This one just feels closest to the original, in my opinion.
mhm. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that I got ever since the trailers, I had Scream vibes. Ever since, that poster came out, which I still love that first poster that they released of like
Mm-hmm.
Ghostface just holding the knife.
Yeah.
I mean, it was new, it was fresh, and even all of these posters are actually unique to these movies, because it's like normally you just get the typical, cast members, and you get like Ghostface in the background or something else in the background. So I thought that all of these posters, like the Scream main poster, or the one that's being posted all over the place, to me, and I sent this to you, I get a Star Wars The Last Jedi poster feel, and you look at it and you're like, you totally can see like the Last Jedi-esque style like on the poster for sure. But I like this poster more, and I like this movie more than The Last Jedi as well. But and I just like the color of it, and I really like the vibe of the whole movie too. Like I thought everything was good. So okay, opening. We both agree that it was a really strong opening. I will say that it's probably one of my favorite openings of the franchise. Guys, lots of Scream content coming this week. Like I said, if you guys are just tuning in, Destiny and I Monday night are going to be doing our ranking of the entire franchise. And then tomorrow, got the killers coming, and then I'm going to do an opening, like which Scream movie has the best opening sometime this week as well. Yeah, what do you call it? Great opening, I thought. And now after that, we get introduced to Sam right away. It like cuts like right outside to like where Sam is working. We get introduced to Sam Carpenter. I wonder who that's named after. Happy birthday to John Carpenter, by the way. It's January 15th today. Today is John Carpenter's birthday.
I thought it was tomorrow.
Huh?
I thought it was tomorrow.
Oh, it might be. Hold on. Stand by. Destiny, go ahead and give your thoughts on Sam while I look this up.
You said on Sam?
Yeah.
As a whole,
you're right. Tomorrow. Sorry,
yeah.
everybody.
Say I looked it up earlier. So.
Yep, January 16th. I was a few days off.
Happy early birthday.
I thought he was 2 days after my birthday. I guess he's 3, so it's still kind of
3. Still not bad.
But yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, Sam, I liked her character a lot. There are some moments in the movie I wish she would have given a little bit more, just because this is like really crazy. Like everything that's happening is really fucking crazy. So some scenes I wish we would have gotten a little bit more, but I do like this opening because it already establishes that there's some tension between them because, you have like one of her friends, Wes, we're introduced to him a little bit through the phone. Calls her and lets her know that Tara was attacked and she's alive and in the hospital. But we also get introduced to Richie, which is Sam's boyfriend. He comes out there. They work at the bowling alley. They're all talking. Oh, also we see that she takes prescription pills.
Mm-hmm.
We see that. And I really like their first exchange. I thought that was pretty funny when he's talking about taking your pills again. And she's like, yeah, how are you going to get it up now? That made me laugh. So I really like that because you already get introduced, they're playful. And then, she gets the call and they go to the hospital. So I thought it was a pretty good introduction because you can already tell there's already something going on with her. And it's just a little pool dip for you.
Yeah, and it definitely foreshadows what's to come too, which I'm really excited to talk about. But yeah, I really thought that Melissa Barrera was a good protagonist in this movie. I bought into her character, especially we get introduced to her. We don't know that much about her, but we get to know more and more about her and why she acts the way she is and why she feels responsible for certain events that have occurred in her life throughout the movie. So I mean, again, I've seen a fair amount of people that are just saying, "Oh, this is a January trash movie. It sucks." Yeah, honestly, people are just gonna complain no matter what in today's day and age. There's always going to be people to complain about something, if it doesn't go exactly how they want it to go, or there's always going to be criticism. But you know what? I mean, I thought for what they had to work with and for everything that they brought back to this movie from the franchise and everything, I had so much fun with it. And I have no issue with admitting that. And it seems like everybody who is a fan of this franchise I have seen enjoyed this movie. I know some people think that it's just okay or whatever, but I mean, I'm just so sick of and tired of literally reading so many comments of people just hating it just to hate on it. I don't know. That's just kind of my 2 cents on it. But yeah, so Sam and Richie go to the hospital where we see Tara. And Tara obviously wasn't too sure about if Sam was even going to come, right? And she did. And, you know, we kind of understand the relationship there. And then we recognize that Amber is not very happy to see Sam. Amber is she's a bitch. Well, let's just say that. But yeah, she's not happy, and I honestly thought, me personally thought that she was out of place, as like, not obviously the way she was written was fine, but her character was out of place to comment on their family stuff. I don't care if like you're my best friend. I don't care if like you're technically included in the family. There are certain lines that you just don't cross when it comes to family matter, and I feel like that as soon as you get introduced to her, she's way the fuck out of place. Like, you know, like giving Sam shit for running away and everything. Like, you know, like, I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, immediately she's already snarky to Sam, talking about how like her inhaler, Tara's inhaler, and how she is like a backup one and stuff. Foreshadowing. But I was just like, oh, okay. And she's already being rude to Sam. So again, you're starting to figure out more just by her saying like, oh, you came. And she's like, of course. Like, why wouldn't I? Be like, okay, so they don't talk much. They're clearly estranged. If she wasn't even sure her sister would show up to the hospital after she was attacked. Um, but I really like that because it's just little, things that kind of tell you what's going on. But yeah, immediately you see Amber. She's not a fan. She seems like the most cynical one out of their friend group. Like, usually, like, not so much when it comes to what's going on in their lives, just in general. She just seems so, like, bleh about everything. But you
Yeah.
can tell that she cares about Tara, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's obviously why she went. If she didn't care, then she obviously wouldn't have even bothered going. But I will say there was actually the scene right before the hospital. I'm kind of backtracking just a little bit. When her and Richie were driving to the hospital, I loved the commentary of, like, you know, her explaining to Richie the town's history and everything. And then she brings up Stab, and then he goes like Halloween. And she goes, no. He goes, it sounds very much like Halloween. And she goes, it is kind of like
Yeah.
Halloween. You know? Like, I mean, like, right? Except Ghostface can run and Michael can't. So, but yeah, I liked all of the social commentary in this movie regarding the modern day horror stuff. I thought that everything was very well written in terms of that. So we got a little bit about their relationship. And then I also found it funny, like, that later on, like when she walked in, Richie was watching Stab. Like, you know, he's like, they're on Netflix. And she got kind of upset because it's like, Richie, buddy, hate to tell you this, but not a really appropriate time to be watching this after Tara gets like attacked by somebody. And like, and you can like tell like that genuinely made her upset, right? She goes, I need to find something to eat. So, which brings us to one of the bigger reveals of, was this before the attack or after the attack? No, it was definitely before. It was before. She looked in the mirror
because she was taking the pills.
Yep, she looked in the mirror, and who the fuck was behind her? It was fucking Billy.
Billy.
Like, I was genuinely, and at first I was just like, is this him? Is this the actual actor? Because I'm like, it looks very much like him. And it fucking is. It's actually him. I couldn't believe it. That was very cool. And that was a very, very good surprise to see. I like how they were able to incorporate his cameo, and he's actually in it a couple of times in this movie. I really, really enjoy that, and there's going to be more talk on that as we go through this. But I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. And that was just a really, really awesome surprise. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as soon as he came on screen, I literally, like, audibly, I said, what? Just like that in the theater. Because I was expecting something callback to the original in some capacity because I had seen stuff about that like a while back, but I wasn't sure how we would get it. So as soon as he popped up, I was like, oh my god, I was like, it's fucking Billy. Like, Billy's on screen right now. That's so cool, again, because this is my first Scream movie. So I still got to see an original killer on screen.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely not, I wasn't sure how I was expecting something like that to come about. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, this is what they were talking about. Like, this is really cool. So I like that. It was, you know, really cool to see something we haven't really seen before. And at first you're like, why is Billy, like, why with her? And then
Yeah,
you
and
find
then
out.
we find out, that she's the daughter of Billy Loomis. The whole backstory of that was actually rather interesting, and I like how she wasn't only seeing Billy. I like how it was as we saw him last. Like, he was
Mhm.
all beat up and he had the white shirt on, and it was like literally how he went out in Scream is how we saw him here, which I thought was really awesome. I'm seeing a couple things in the chat here. Goodreal says that he will say he hated Ghost Billy. It was not needed at all. And then we have Slaughtered Lamb. How you guys doing? It says Ghost Billy in the rear view mirror looked odd. I will say that the de-aging did. I will admit that it looked a little definitely
Starring.
digitally done. Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely, like, but I honestly thought it was a cool. It was really cool to just kind of like see that. That I thought, in my opinion. I could see it kind of go both ways with people. Even watching it, I was like, I was excited, but in the back of my head, I was also kind of like, there are some people that are going to have
Oh,
major issues with
yeah.
this.
Definitely. I was like, oh, this is kind of weird. It's
Right?
like, this
Because,
is
like,
weird. I still like it, but it's odd.
yeah, I mean, because, like, you like it because it's, like, obviously awesome to see him back in a Scream movie.
Hmm.
But at the same time, you have to think, like, too, like, does this actually fit? Does it not fit? Could they have done anything different? Whatever. And I mean, I personally liked it. I thought that the de-aging effect could have been done a little bit better in, like, the mirror scene specifically. But I get it. It's like you work with the best that you have, or with the best that you can do, at least. And I honestly thought that it worked. For just the small, like, now if this was like constant, like if it was like every scene with her and he was like popping up like here and there, I honestly think that would have been a little bit much. But I think just for like the small little scenes that we got, because like we see, I think it's like only 3 times in the movie.
I
Like,
think
it might
so,
have.
because it's the mirror, the car, and then the end.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So it is 3. I was
I
like,
think it
I was
just.
thinking of the hospital, and then I was thinking of the end, and then I was like, there was one other scene. Then yeah, the car. It was when she was going somewhere. Well, I'll think of it.
I know. It's like,
Um,
where?
yeah. I think it was when she was rushing back to the hospital, but Dewey was with her when she was rushing back to the hospital. Um, and speaking of Dewey, actually, let's talk about that first attack at the hospital first, because that's where she gets the call for the first time.
Hmm.
I find it absolutely hysterical that these damn characters are answering to unknown numbers. Like, I mean, I find it hilarious because normally when I see an unknown number pop up on my phone, I immediately hit no. Like,
Yeah, same.
I just let it go
No.
right to voicemail. But you know what? Also, I can imagine a producer asking this question and the writer just being like, well, the movie has to happen, so they need to answer it.
Yeah, you definitely would have to in this movie.
Like, I just think of like the pitch meeting, like, it's like
Oh, yeah.
just the producer guy going, well, the movie needs to happen, so like,
So,
that's
we
why,
gotta do
like, that's
it.
the reason. He goes, fair enough. Like, but yeah, that leads into, and I like that because that was kind of like a little callback to the first Scream as well. Like when Sydney like ran into the house, and then, like, all of a sudden she locks the door, Ghostface comes out of the
Hmm.
closet. This kind of was like that. It was kind of like a mix of Scream 2 and Scream 1, because she says something very similar to what Sydney did in Scream 2, like when she was like, then show, like, why don't you just show yourself, you fucking coward?
Yeah.
Like, with pleasure. And boom, like, she's like, or he's right behind. her. That was kind of like a mix of that, because he came through the door, and then that's where we get our first look at Ghostface actually falling and like, you know, tripping over chairs and everything. Like, she was actually doing a pretty good job at fighting in that scene. You know, he was like flipping over tables and everything. It was like a small encounter, but it was one of those encounters like where, oh shit, now she knows what the fuck's up, right? That was definitely the second killer, because the first one was busy doing something else. But yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought it was great. That was fun because again, he's saying on the phone like, you know why this is happening, pretty much. And so I like that too because I was like, oh, I wonder what it is. And then the next scene, we find out what it is, and it's Sam telling Tara that she's Billy's daughter, and that she like completely closed her off because their dad had left that night because the dad didn't know that the mom had cheated on him and that this wasn't her daughter. Or I can't remember. It was that she cheated on him, right? Or it was like right before they got together, but she said that this was his daughter when it was actually Billy Loomis's. And so that was a big shock. The dad left, and she feels responsible for breaking up her family.
Yeah.
And then Tara's pretty pissed off because she never told her what happened.
Yeah.
And now all this is happening because it has something to do with that.
But I mean, rightfully so, though. Like, you know, I mean, in a way, you can kind of like you can relate to Sam's character because, like, you know, she's the older sister and she's supposed to be there for the younger one. And I understand where Tara's coming from because it's like, you know, she needed her older sister and she just took off and left. But I mean, Sam felt responsible. You know, it's like that's really a lot, like, you know, to weigh in. And she feels if she maybe would have like handled it better, that maybe there could have been a different outcome. But no, she like that was kind of like acting without thinking, right? Like it's like she just kind of like took the notebook and like walked in and didn't realize her dad was in the room either. And yeah, like that was I can understand that, you know, and that was actually a really good scene that really gave us the full backstory that we needed to know as to why they're so estranged from each other. You know, yeah, that's just kind of like my thoughts on it. So that was a very interesting way to kind of push the story forward, and everything. And other than Sam and Tara, let's talk about some of these side characters because there are quite a few side characters in this movie. We actually pretty much get introduced to all of them before we get the legacy cast, which makes sense, right? Like, you know, it was very blatant that, you know, the legacy characters were going to be there, but they were simply more going to be there just to like help guide like where they felt necessary, because like this is pretty much their mess. Like, you know, this new generation of characters need to figure this out, right? Like, I mean, I really liked that. I liked how, you know, Dewey, Sydney, and Gail were just kind of there to like give like pointers to like, okay, look out for this or look out for this. Dewey was definitely more involved with it than Sydney and Gail were. And I honestly also think that he was probably my favorite in this of the legacy cast. Normally you'd think that it's like Sydney, but I honestly personally thought that Dewey was my favorite legacy cast member in this movie, and more on that in a few minutes. But let's talk about some of these side characters. So just to kind of like remember their names, I've got IMDb pulled up right here. So if I'm looking over here, I've got IMDb. So we've already talked about Richie, we've talked about Sam, we've talked about Tara. Those are kind of like the three main that we follow a lot. Then we've got Deputy Judy Hicks. We've got Wes Hicks, Judy's daughter. Then we've got Mindy, we've got Liv, we've got Amber, Chad, and Vince. Those are pretty much like the side characters. And I will honestly say Kyle Garner, as much as I like him as an actor, I personally think that his character was just a big throwaway. He had pretty cool death. I mean, I think that they could have done a little bit more with him. I can't lie. But he was just like one of those that was like, there. What are your thoughts on the side characters, Destiny?
As a whole, I really love this new cast. I especially love. Hold on, I wrote their names down too. I really loved Chad and Mindy Meeks Martin. They are the son and daughter of Martha Meeks. So Randy is their uncle. I really love them because even though for the most part they're all pretty aware of horror movies, like I would say it was Wes and then Chad and then definitely Mindy. They were pretty well aware of like horror and like horror tropes and stuff because they were talking about it a lot when they have the scenes together. But Mindy, I loved Mindy a lot. She's definitely the Randy of this movie more so than anyone. Anytime she was doing a little speech or whatever, it was so much fun. I loved her character a lot. And then, I mean, I feel like Liv didn't have much to do either. She was kind of also just there. Liv used to hook up with Kyle Gallner's character. Hold on, what is his name? Oh, Vince.
Yeah.
So
Vince.
yeah, Vince was definitely not. He was just kind of like a red herring. He's a creepy older dude that's been hanging out with younger girls at the high school. He's just your typical just lazy dude. But I did love his death scene. I thought it was pretty great, especially because they played Red Right Hand, which as soon as I came on in the car radio, I started losing my shit. I love his whole death scene because it immediately just gets right into it. He just gets stabbed in the face or like in the neck and then just bleeding out and just stab, stab, stab. And then the way the music, because it's like playing in the car, but then when she starts like really stabbing him on the ground, the music becomes like louder. And I love that a lot. That's like what I mean by like how this to me feels like a Scream movie. They're playing Red Right Hand, something that plays a big part in 3 of the 4 other movies. So I thought that was pretty awesome. I'm really happy they had that.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, the only thing that I was so upset about is they didn't have one of the best shots that they incorporated in the trailer. And it was like when Ghostface like opened the cloak, like the shadow of it was fucking awesome. I wish that they would have incorporated that. I honestly thought like that it was gonna cut to that as soon as he was like wiping the knife for the first time. I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. I will say I wasn't anticipating him to just fucking stab him in the damn cheek, like literally right away. Like I thought that like there was like maybe gonna be like a head bump on the car, like, and get him like a reveal, maybe get him like a little scuffle with him. But no, that shit was just right through the damn mouth. I was like, oh fuck, like that, like that's insane. And then I was really, really hoping that they were gonna have that shot because that honestly was one of my favorite shots of the trailer. And that just totally gave me awesome Scream vibes and Ghostface vibes. So I was very upset that they cut that. I wish they would have left that shot in. I understand that movies don't necessarily play out as the trailers do, but I wish that would have been in. But yeah, his death was definitely remarkable. I'd say I definitely think that was like one of those like where it was shocking, and because I didn't think it was gonna just happen like that. And yeah, but other than his death, his character is just kind of like throw it away, because he's in what, like 2 scenes, and that's it. Like he's like just like leaning against the car, and then he comes in and has like a little shit talk with Chad.
Yep.
And that's it. Then boom, parking lot, and yeah, that was his end. So, the other characters, Chad and Mindy Meeks Martin, will say I enjoyed them for the most part. I really liked the scene at their house, like with the Meeks home theater. I loved that, giving Randy some love. Seeing Randy's sister was really cool. But prior to that, I know now I'm kind of starting to jump all over the place, but prior to that, let's talk about Dewey's introduction, because, you know, when I saw Dewey on screen for the first time, like this entire week, I was talking to my sister and I was just like, I'm gonna lose if Billy, or if Billy dies. If Dewey dies, I'm gonna lose it if Dewey dies. I'm gonna lose it if Dewey dies. And it's like just seeing him like on screen, like, you know, like I'm like sitting here, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like either moments away from losing it, or I'm like, you know, gonna be very happy at the end of this. But like just seeing him and kind of seeing where he's at. So let's talk about where Dewey's at. Dewey is in a spot where him and Gail are no longer together. He still watches her Good Morning Show, and you know, he sits down, he has his coffee, he pours whiskey in his coffee. He doesn't take care of himself. You know, he's just kind of over life. He lives in like a trailer park. And you know, we kind of get an insight of what his life is like prior to Sam and Richie showing up at the house. And you know, I did think that was awesome, and I was curious to see the approach that they were going to take to why him and Gail weren't together. You know, and it was more his fault. Like we find that out like later on in the movie that he left and he called himself a coward, when we all know, and Gail knows, that Dewey is not a coward at all. He has been through so much.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam and Richie end up showing up, and Sam explains to him what's going on. And I really love his dialogue, like to specifically towards Richie. He goes like, you know, how long have you known him? You know, has he ever done this, or this? And, you know, Richie's kind of feeling attacked. So, go on, give your commentary.
Oh yeah, I really like the whole introduction to Dewey because yeah, you see he's definitely not in the best place. You get to see he has like a box that says like Tatum's name on it, and so I thought that was really cute to see. You get to see his little frame picture of him and Courtney Cox, because this doesn't look like, it was like, this looks like a real picture that they had when they were together. So I was like, oh, that's just so sweet. And then I really like whenever they come, because at first he's like, I'm not doing interviews. He's like, no, like we need your help. And he was just like staring, and finally lets him in. But yeah, he immediately just like, it's usually the spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, and says that, and he's just kind of playing through, you know, who it could possibly be and stuff. And she says, you know, like, we really need your help, like, you've been through this. And he's pretty much like, nope. But then he, you know, he does go and help him. And then that's when we're introduced to the whole Randy home theater and stuff. But I really like that scene because you get to immediately, you know, where they're at, which I figured that him and Gail wouldn't be together. Just as soon as I saw that, the trailer, I recognized his house. I was like, oh yeah, I know that's a trailer. Like, I know that's a trailer. So I figured that they wouldn't be together, and it's still sad that they're not together, but the reason why they're not together, I feel like it's more like admirable, because he knew, like, the whole scene whenever the Gail's like, you're meant for Woodsboro, and you're meant to be here, and he's like, and you're not, and they're teary-eyed. Oh my god, started crying, because it's like, that's true. Like, they're a good couple, but they just aren't, they're never going to be on the same page when it comes to stuff like that. So they can't be together.
Yeah, and it's like the thing that really I've loved about their relationship in every single movie is that they are polar opposites. Like you know, like the saying that opposites attract. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
like that's exactly the case with them. And you know, just like every movie, like even in Scream 2, right? Like even like that transition from how they were at the end of Scream, like they were like really liking each other, they were all over each other. And then Scream 2 comes around and she's published that book, and he read the book and he was so upset about some of the stuff that, you know, was said about him. But like, you can tell that she still had feelings for him. You can tell that she still liked being around him. And then obviously with Scream 3, it's the same. Scream 4, they're married. And now Scream 5, you can still tell, like all of these years later, that she still feels comfortable around him. And like, I love like when she like approaches him for the first time, like after he like texted her all of the stuff. Like literally, she was like, "You told me Ghostface is back over a text."
Yeah, because he was like, Ghostface is back.
don't come here.
Don't come. And it said, hope you're doing well, smiley face. Oh my God. He's like, I shouldn't have sent the smiley face.
Right.
That
Like,
fucking had me laughing so hard.
but it's like, it's Gale Weathers. Like, you really expect her to, oh, Ghostface is back, just don't come and that's
Yeah.
it? Like, no, like that's definitely not it at all. Like, you know, you knew she was coming. I mean, obviously from the trailers as well, but you could have also put 2 and 2 together. Like, if you haven't seen any of the trailers, Gale's on her way. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And the way that Sydney is actually involved with this is, you know, we see Dewey call her and he explains the facts that there have been, you know, 3 attacks and whatever. And the whole route with that is she didn't want to get involved right away, or like Dewey told her not to get involved right away. And that kind of went a little bit different than I thought the trailer was going to be. Like, I thought he was going to call her, boom, here comes Sydney, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I actually liked how it was mostly Dewey that was like around to help him because he's the one that's still in Woodsboro, right? So I really liked that shoe in that, okay, Dewey's the one that's going to kind of be helping them. And, you know, then he goes to the Meek's house, which was awesome. You know, he had like Randy's sister was like, Dewey, you look, how are you? Like, just like that silence. Like,
Yeah. It's like, oh, yeah, he doesn't, we all know he doesn't look well.
right. I mean, like you can like tell that he's an older gentleman that has definitely been through a lot. And you know, honestly, the way that like they made him look in this movie, they made him look tired. They really made him look like, you know, because he doesn't look like that. He honestly doesn't even look that bad in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I think that he looks great for his age. But yeah, like I think that the way that that his character was like he was there to help him, and then that literally led to one of my favorite dialogue scenes in the entire movie, and that's when they were commenting on the requels, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Fucking loved every bit and every piece of writing in that scene. If there's a scene that is so well written that I will always pinpoint in this movie, it's that.
Yes.
Because like, you know, we're growing up in a time right now where that's how horror is, and just the commentary was honestly, I feel like if it was like you, me, Brett, man, like, you know, Chad, all of us talking about it, that's exactly how it would
Yeah.
be. Like, I feel like that they nailed every piece of dialogue. You would definitely be like freaking Mindy and like just giving all of that commentary, all the
Standing
backstory.
up, just like
Yeah.
almost like freaking out by the end, like you're just so into it. I
Yeah.
love that because like right there I was like, yes, like this, because like I had heard that it wasn't going to be as meta. This movie like wasn't supposed to be meta, but I feel like it definitely was pretty meta, you know, the way they're talking about requels and she has to explain it. And you know, of course, as soon as she's explaining it, the first movie that popped in my head was Halloween 2018, and then she says the Halloween movie. I was like, yes, and she talks about like Saw and stuff. It's like, yes, it just, like I said when we did our non spoilers, like it just felt so nice to kind of feel how people in '96 would have felt watching the movies. It's so nice to like be, you know, younger right now when watching this, and I relate to these characters so much. It just felt so good almost to be like seen in a movie. Not that I haven't before, but just this, me relating to it like right now in today's world, it just felt so cool. It's like, damn, this is just a great feeling. I love this right now.
Yeah, yeah, and honestly, they said they listed a lot more than I thought they were going to. Like, you know, Halloween I figured was going to come up because like, you know, that came out in 2018, this came out in 2022. Obviously, they had a lot of time in between. The Saw one actually surprised me. Like that one was just kind of like, oh shit, that like, you know, they're talking about Spiral. I'm like, I
Yeah.
just saw Spiral this past year. And then like, you know, they were talking about a lot of other, you know, horror films. And I will say in that scene, like I just want to get that, and I know you and I were talking about this off the air the other night after our review. I want to get that the stab collection that they have, even if it's just like a prop, like, you know, just like have the stab Blu-ray collection just like kind of somewhere. I thought that was really cool to kind of see that. But yeah, that whole scene I was very happy with, you know, and then they all kind of like break up and disperse, and I believe Wes's death is next after that. I believe he goes home. And honestly, I thought that it was hilarious how they how the note on the fridge from his
The
mom, there's
lemon
the
square.
lemon squares. I was like, she's still making those damn lemon
Making
squares, you
them.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, so Judy, she goes to get some like sushi and stuff for him, and she tells Wes to take a shower and get like ready for like their dinner, and so she's going to get it, and then bum bum bum, she gets a phone call and saying pretty much, Ghostface is about to kill your son. So she has to turn around and she's trying to get home and she's trying to like dispatch police out there and she can't really get through anything. She's trying and I really like that scene a lot because she finally makes it. You'd think Wes is going to go first because the way, like, someone's in the house, you can hear them kind of like the creaks and stuff, and he's like, Mom, no, it's not. But before that, Judy's running to go inside, and Ghostface pops out of the little hedge right in front of their house and stabs her over and over again. And that scene made me jump out of my chair. That scared me because I was just so like into it. I wasn't even thinking that Ghostface would have been there. Looking at it, it totally makes sense. It's completely blocking. So yeah, but when it happened, oh my god.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't stop. He just keeps stabbing her over and over, and there's so much blood. And I kind of liked it though because it was in the daytime, which we don't see too often, really, within this franchise. And so I thought it was pretty cool to just right there in front of her house, just stabbed her multiple times.
Yeah, literally. And I mean, like, I know I made like one of like the comments or whatever, like, how is like, I mean, it's a very public neighborhood. Like, I mean, it's like there are houses all around, but I mean, I also like it's also the middle of the day, people are working, I mean, they honestly like could have even done something like where like this obviously would have had to been a whole different setup or whatnot, but somebody could have been like at home, like drinking coffee, they turn away and just in the background, like you just see him like, stabbing her to death. But I mean, the scene was intense in and of itself, like, just like how she was like running up to the house and like that was very smartly planned on Ghostface's end. It's like he knew what was going to happen, and I thought that was great. That definitely led into like one of those like edge of your seat moments, like where like Wes was like, walking through the house after the shower. And then it's like, he like opened the pantry, and then it's like, boom, like you think that he's gonna shut it, and then boom, Ghostface is gonna be there, and then he opens the fridge, and then he shuts the fridge, and there's still nothing, right? Which I was happy that they did that. I
Yeah.
was happy that they did that because I would have been like, that would have just kind of like been like cheap, like it's like, oh, you do it once, okay, nothing, okay, you do it again, there he is. No, they really built that up, and like the music throughout that entire scene worked, and then like when he like got to the door and he like shut the door and locked it, and then he turned around, boom, there's Ghostface. And I honestly this is definitely one of the deaths that was fucking insane, like how like you just see the knife like going through his like cheek, which was, oh my god, like fucking wild.
Yeah, this one made me, I was gagging, like, because we had just eaten, like, right before I went. I had Taco Bell, like, right before, and I was sitting there, because it just holds on it for so long, and they're, like, he's, like, sliding down, and Ghostface is, like, going down with him, and just, like, staring right at him, but you just see it, and it's just sitting there, and I was just like, okay, I can handle it, and I was like, and then I did it, like, 4 times. I was like, I really thought I was about to throw up just because it holds on it for so long, and it just feels so mean spirited, like just staring at him as he's dying. I
Mm-hmm.
thought, I really thought that was a really great scene because I feel like it was a pretty good like misdirection because I really thought Wes was gonna go first, and he didn't. The Judy death surprised me, and then boom, dead. And I saw some comments saying like they wish they like he would have found his mom first, and because he could have built like some sort of chase sequence out of that, like him running out of the house. But I don't know. I it would have. I mean, it would have been sad to see him react to his mom being dead right there, but I really like the way they did it because it just
Yeah.
felt so just like.
There we go. Sorry, I thought I don't know why I thought it was the cheek. It was the neck. Yeah, that's
The
right.
neck,
Yeah, it was
because
the
later
neck.
on we get another.
Yeah. Yeah. See, there's a few cheek stabs in this movie, so it's like, I always think that it like goes like, through here, but no, yeah, it's right through his neck.
Yeah, and you're just
That
it's
makes
just
more sense because it's like he's dying as like Ghostface is like looking
yeah.
at him. So yeah, yes, through the neck. I'm sorry. I thought it was the cheek because there's a couple cheek stabs in this movie.
Well, earlier I had watched a YouTuber I watch, Girly Gore, and she was doing her Scream review, and she had said the same thing, getting to later about a death scene. She's like, "Wait, is his the neck or is it the like?" She's like, "I'm pretty sure it's the neck," and I commented on there. I was like, "Oh, it was like Wes's with the neck. The other one was the face," because I knew the face one, but I was just like, "Damn, was it his face or the neck?" But the neck.
Yeah, I don't.
Which
And apparently, see, I've only seen this movie once, so I'm sorry if I'm getting like some of these mixed up. Vince's also might have been through the neck. I don't know if it was through the cheek or through the neck. I
I
thought that
think
he got.
it's I think it's like right here, like right. I feel like it was like right here because I feel like he like immediately like started grabbing on
Okay.
to his like face, like right here, or his like throat, and then he
Yeah,
like falls to the floor.
yeah. Again, I've only seen it once.
Kind of hard.
So I mean, I'm excited to see it again, and I'll definitely pay more attention to it. But I mean, some of these actually, Vince's happened really quickly though. Like his was just kind of like
And it's
boom.
in the dark too.
It is. Yeah. Like, so I can see myself getting that one mixed up. I don't know why I thought Wes got stabbed through the fucking cheek. Like, I was like, for some reason, that doesn't make any sense. Like, because like, yeah, he was like dying so yeah, it was like right here on the side of the neck, like going through the vein and all that shit. But yeah, so definitely one of the better kills of the movie for sure. And then that starts leading more into Dewey sees that Judy died, and that kind of gives him some flashbacks and everything. Sam gets there at the same time to find out that Wes died, and all that. Like, I mean, that was all definitely that was a scene like where Sam really knew, like, fuck, like shit's getting real, just like Dewey said it was going to. Save Robbie, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate you, man. But yeah, that entire thing was awesome because that leads to probably one of the best, if not in my opinion, the best sequence of the entire movie, and that is the second hospital scene. It's like when they get there, because the deputy that is supposed to be watching over Tara's room is at the crime scene, and she's like, who the fuck is watching Tara? Like, she needs to be supervised. And so but she literally starts booking it back to the hospital, and Dewey goes along with her. He says, like, you got to drive. So yeah, they get back to the hospital, or while they're on their way to the hospital, Tara's there alone. And then, like, she gets out of bed, she gets into that wheelchair. I was very curious to see who that was going to be, because like in the trailer when I saw the knife, and like I love that shot too. Like you see like the wheelchair, and then like you like see like the knife like come down. I'm like, no, Ghostface, come on. I'm like, stop it. Like,
they're in a wheelchair, man. That's not right. She's just in a wheelchair. Yeah, because I had seen people speculating that could have been Jenna Ortega's character, but I wasn't too sure of it. So when it was her, I was like, okay, it makes sense, especially once we see that she is alive. But yeah, I really like that whole scene because Sam gets the call, and Richie shows up to find Tara because she's like hiding, and then Ghostface pops up, stabs Richie, in the arm, like slashes him, and Ghostface is telling Sam that she has to choose between Tara or Richie. And I was like, oh God, like, fuck, I don't want to, this is making me nervous. But then she says, how do you know I'm not just stalling for time? Boom, boom, from the elevator. Yep. I really love that because I was just like, oh my God, please hurry. Because Ghostface is coming right up on Tara, and she's on the floor. she's not in well condition, so she would have easily died if it wasn't for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, that entire scene, like when Richie showed up, like, when so Tara finds the cop, right? And then she like, wheels to a room like where like there's a phone. And I'm not gonna lie, like that's just like one of those scenes that just gives you so much anxiety because you're just sitting there and she's like like I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Shut up.
Shut up. Like, I'm like, he's gonna find you. Like, so it was like just like you're yelling at the character like, please be quiet, I know your leg hurts, but please just be as quiet as you can, like you're blatantly loud. And then like when Richie comes in and like she like beats him with the phone, I
Yep.
love Good Reel's comment right here. It says funny that Richie got hit, he's like, you hit me with the yeah, like that is definitely that was definitely funny. But and then Ghost, like this kind of reminded me of the original Scream also, because like Ghostface like popped up behind Richie and then he got his arm slashed. There has to be some sort of injuries, otherwise there's consequences and like it's sus and everything. But yeah, like that kind of reminded me of like when Stu came behind Billy in Scream, the original. And then like that leads into that whole sequence, like when Sam and Dewey come out of the elevator, they blast Ghostface, or they don't blast him right away, like able to get away. And then jumps out the window at Dewey, and that's when it leads into that whole sequence, right? Of both of them fighting. And I love that entire scene. Like I like how like he was like, not today, boom. And then he shot him, and that's I knew it. I knew it was coming. I knew it was fucking coming.
Yeah.
Like,
Immediately I was like, oh fuck, brace yourself, man.
I was like, something is about to happen to where he's gonna have to go back. And they got to the fucking elevator. He was like, wait.
Fucking knew it.
He's like, gotta shoot him in the head. Otherwise, they always come back. And I was like,
Part 3.
I was like, fuck. So he starts walking back. Like, it was definitely some cool, suspenseful stuff. But I think we all knew what was about to happen as he started walking back to Ghostface. And fucking Gale had to call him right there because he looked at his phone and then wham, fucking Dewey gets it. And then his Ghostface line was, yes, today. I was like, oh fuck. And then that was fucking brutal. Like he fucking like took the knife, slid it up his back, and then stabbed him. I think it was in the chest.
It was in the it was in the front part first. I feel like it was lower because like Ghostface was down. I feel like it was lower and then drags it up and then stabs in the back and then drags it down and then like pulls. Oh god.
Yeah, it was brutal. He got a fucking brutal death. He definitely got that. But yeah, that was the first time too that like Ghostface, he was dual wielding like knives. Like he was standing there with two knives in his hand, and just that shot, the wide shot of him just like standing there, like as like with Dewey's body on the ground. I was like, fuck you. Like I was just like, fuck you. Are you crying? Are you crying right now?
Yes,
I could see you
dude,
crying.
This morning, Chris and I were talking about it, and I started crying. And I sent him a picture. I was like, tears were rolling. This is definitely the hardest death from like any movie period for me. Like, yeah. I knew it was coming all week. Well, since the trailers, I was like, man, I really don't think he's gonna make it. All day at work on Thursday, like, my boss was like, oh, your movie's tonight. Like, are you excited? I was like, yeah. I'm really nervous. She's like, why? I was like, I know one of the big three is going to die. And, like, I didn't want to tip her off to who. I was like, I know. Like, I knew it was going to be Dewey, but it hurt. As soon as he got stabbed, I was bawling my eyes out, like, full-on hysterics. And I was, like, doing this to myself because I was, like, weeping. I was, like, and I was, like, oh, my God, I can't be doing this right now. Like, I'm in a theater, but I couldn't help it. Yeah. Anytime I even think about him, I start crying, like, because, grew up with them since I was, like, 7 years old. That's a lot. That's a long part, so.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, it definitely, you know, it definitely hit, and it hit in the exact way that I anticipated it. Like I was driving to the theater and Riley, my sister, was asking, "Are you excited?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm excited, but I'm not ready to see Dewey
Exactly.
Dewey get killed." And literally, I'm so scared it's gonna happen. Riley was like, "Well, if it does happen, it's happened already. We just haven't seen it yet." I'm like, "Shut up!"
Shut up,
I'm like, "You don't
Riley.
say that. You don't
It's
say
not
that."
helping.
Like, freaking like, God, that was like it was like it was hard to watch too, because it's like, it's like you already know that he has like injuries from his back and everything, and just like to see like there was no coming back from that. It
No.
was game
As soon as
over.
it started dragging up, I was like, oh my god, like, no. Like, that's what you do when you slaughter, like, a pig, you know? Like, you slice up, and I was like, oh god, like, this is it. This is really the last time we're gonna see Dewey alive.
Yeah, I know. Like, and so Ken here actually says it reminded me of the no resurrections this time from Infinity War. I understand that reference, but yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, I can see that for sure. And then Brett, man, he's asking, so which one hurt, Dewey or Cameron? I know I asked before, but now that the movie came out, I know your answer already.
Oh
So,
yeah,
but
it's Dewey. Because like I said, I'm Dewey's been a part of my life for more like 13 years. Halloween 2018 came out in 2018. He died like that's not enough time to like truly. This is someone that we've had 4 movies with. We really love, and this one just hurt because yeah, this plays. I don't know.
yeah,
It
I
was just
will
hard.
say I was very happy to know, because I know that there was like my dad included. Like my dad's been a fan of these movies for a long time, and my dad, I sent my family the all three of the character posters of the legacy cast when those dropped, and my dad was like, "Oh, look at Dewey's face." He's like, "I'm telling you, I think Dewey's turning on Sid in this one." I'm like, "Dad, you're fucking crazy."
You,
Like, there's
you
no
are
way.
not right at
There's
all.
no way. He was so convinced. There were people out there that were convinced that Dewey was going to be involved. And I'm like, there's
Yeah,
no fucking way Dewey's
no,
involved in this. It does not fit his character. You want to talk about dividing fans. That,
I'd
like,
be
imagine
pissed.
imagine a universe where that actually exists, where Dewey is involved with the fucking killing.
No, that's just too much like fucking scary movie. That would
Yeah.
just I would be livid if it was any of the three because people are speculating Gale and I was like, dude, I don't care who you're saying. If it's any of the three that are the killers, I'm gonna be mad because that's just not in character
Yeah.
for them, like at
No.
all.
Not at all. None of the legacy characters could have been Ghostface. I feel like that. I'm not even just talking about Dewey. I'm talking about Sidney, Gale, Dewey. None of
Mm-hmm.
them could have been. You know, that would have just ruined it. But no, I did know that Dewey was going to be the one to go if they were going to kill somebody off. I think
Yeah.
that was the one part of the trailer I feel like they could have left out Gale's reaction, because that did kind of give it away. There's no other person that she would be reacting like that to. Like, I mean, I know even if it was Sydney, I don't think she would have as big of a reaction
Yeah.
as she did with Dewey. So, it only made sense. I do wish, like, if I can just critique the trailer, I wish that shot would have been left out, because I feel like that would have been like, that kind of got me thinking. That was like got me theorizing Dewey's done. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
So, it kind of gave me some time to prepare for it, but I wasn't preparing for it to be like that brutal. Like
No.
he got it for sure. So
Rest in peace.
I know. R.I.P. Dewey. Hey, he
I'm
fought.
just
He fought.
He did,
So
and he tried. And now, like, watching any of the other Scream movies for at least, like, the next year, anytime I see him, I'm just going to start crying. And it's just like, and I don't know, honestly, how often I'll rewatch Scream 5 simply because of that scene, because I can't be like this every time I watch the movie. So I think I'll watch it one more time, then after that, I'll probably just skip that part, because, like, I don't want to watch it. It hurts too much, man.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that It did. It did. It really did. Like I actually was like tearing up like during it too. Like I have no problem admitting that. Like I
My
was like,
lashes were coming off because I was crying so hard. I had to come home and re-glue them on.
yeah.
These ones too. Yeah, they've been through a lot already. And then I was crying earlier for Modern Family right before we got on. I had to fix my makeup, so I'm just feeling. At any second, I'm gonna start crying.
Oh my god.
It's just been so emotional.
All sorts of all. You're feeling all of your emotions right now. I don't know why I had so much trouble saying that,
Been a
but
lot.
okay. And then so after Dewey gets killed, we're pretty much still at the hospital. We remain at the hospital. Gail finds out. Sydney arrives. So Sydney has officially entered the picture. She comes in and she's now here to help the new characters now figure out who this is. She has kids now. She obviously says that that she will not rest until this motherfucker is in the ground. And you know, Sam is like saying, no, we got to ditch town. We got to get out of here. Richie's also saying the same thing. And then Tara agrees to it. You know, I did really like that. I did like that thing, like when Sydney like walked out after her and Sam was giving her some sass and Gail was like, hey, you watch your mouth.
Yeah.
You know, like when you say don't fuck with the original, hey,
Yeah.
this is the original. Like, you know, I love that, you know, like that was great to see. And you know, that is kind of like the start. So Sydney is really only in this movie for the latter half. It's like she's only really in it for like the start of the third act. And I mean, so it's like the end of the second act, like this is like the like if I'm like looking at the script, it's probably like, you know, end of act 2 going right into act 3. You know, because like when they get on the road, that's like leading up to boom, they have to go to Stu Mauer's house, which was the big reveal. And I figured the finale was going to take place at Stu's house. I fucking loved it. That is how you do. I mean, you can call it what it is. It's fucking fan service. But you know what? That is the right way to do fan service. You know, you take the iconic location and you use it as the finale in this like new story that is like, you know, a love letter to all of the films before it. And you know, like that's just like one step closer to us figuring out who Ghostface is. And you know, as soon as like we get to the house, not gonna lie, when because they go there because what do you call it? They go there
Tara's
because they
inhaler.
need Tara's inhaler. And so they get there and fuck, like I mean, I love Richie. I love his commentary. But as soon as he was like, everybody get the fuck out, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Like he's like, and you can see it because like he doesn't take it, like he's taking the shit from somebody, but he goes, all right, that's it. Everyone get the fuck out of here, you know, like, and you just can like you kind of see the twist. You can kind of see it a little bit. So then it just leaves everybody there. Like, you know, now I will say throughout the third act, they were really trying to build around who it can be, you know, like Liv comes in and out, like when Amber goes into the basement by herself and then Mindy ends up down there, it's like, you know, she goes like, you should have asked me to come with you or whatever. Like I like that whole commentary right there. And yeah, like that was all really good stuff. But eventually it's pretty much and I will say the whole scene with Chad and Ghostface was okay. I didn't love it. I also didn't hate it. You know, the chase scene with them.
I don't know. I liked it. We get a guy chase scene, which is always cool because usually it's girls that we see in chase scenes. So it's kind of fun to have a guy. And also, I kind of liked it too because they're using our technology. It's them using our technology against us because they established this earlier. He wants to be able to track Amber's phone and Amber do the same for him. And they're kind of like talking about it. And then they have it set up to where, you know, they're tracking each other. But Ghostface is the one that has Amber's phone. or not Amber, sorry, Liv's phone, not Amber. But Ghostface has Liv's phone, and so that's how, he's able to find out where Chad is. And then he's like bleeding because he just got stabbed in like the leg, and he's like bleeding on his hands, and he can't like
Yeah,
unshare
he
it, so he just
can't
like
like.
chunks his phone. I was like,
Yeah,
yes, thank you, because I was like, just fucking throw the phone, fuck the phone.
I know. You can
And
get a new one. Insurance. If you survive
exactly,
it,
I
you
was
can
like,
get a new one.
just
Like,
fucking throw it, like it doesn't matter. So I was happy he did. And then I really love that part when he's running, because there's like a shed,
yeah,
and
and
I was
then
just
he
like,
comes
oh man,
busting
Ghostface
out
is
of
about
it.
to pop out, and Ghostface did. And I was like, oh no. And then, so I like that. I thought it was pretty fun to
Yeah,
see. It wasn't like an elongated one, but it was like a nice little chase scene. And
yeah.
they're
I
using our
will.
GPS systems against us. So
I
I
will
thought it was
say
smart.
they had a very big missed opportunity, and that was incorporating like a chase sequence like the original in the same house. Like I would have loved to see like one of those scenes, like where say Sam is running away from Ghostface. They could have for sure used Sam, and like there's like that double door hallway or whatever. It's like she could like run down the stairs, and boom, Ghostface comes and runs down the stairs, and like you thought, bitch, like they did miss out on a big opportunity there for sure. I really wish that the finale would have had more of a chase scene. And the character, the reveal, like the only thing I'm upset about is I called both of these from the beginning. The reveals I thought were pretty weak. I can't lie. As much fun as I had with this movie, it breaks my heart to say that the reveals were weak. Like Liv, like I did like that whole room thing, like how everybody was just kind of there.
Oh yeah, and they're like
Like
going back and forth with each
yeah, they're
other.
all going back and forth, and then Liv was like, "I'm not the fucking killer," and then Amber's like, "I know." Boom! I was
Boom.
like, "Oh fuck!" Like I will say I did not see that coming. Like I figured Amber was about to reveal herself, or shortly about to reveal herself. I did not see her just literally fucking holding up the gun and just fucking blasting Liz in the fucking head. That was definitely something.
Yeah.
But like then it's like they had like everybody just kind of dispersed and just whatever, and that's when Sydney and Gail arrive because Sydney put the tracker on Sam's car so she knew where they were going to go. And then they get there, and I loved how they both
Uh-huh.
get out, and then you just hear the scream, and Gail goes, "That sounds about right." That was amazing.
Yeah,
I
that
love that.
was a lot of fun. They get there, Amber's on the porch screaming, and you can so tell like it's fake screaming, like she's not genuinely like hurt or anything. And then Sydney, Dawn, will you stop? And then Sydney was like, "You think it's real?" Or and he's like, "No." And then she's just like, "Screw it," and then starts shooting at him and shoots Gail. And I
Yeah.
was just like, "Oh my god!" And then so we go in, and I was pretty proud of myself because I did call Amber being the killer, but I've called her being the killer since she got casted. Didn't have to see a trailer. I was like, she's the killer. How do I know this? Because look at her face. Look at her. You're gonna look at her and tell me she's not a killer. Whatever. And also, she plays one of the Manson girls in Once Upon a Time in
Yeah.
Hollywood, and so I was like, she's a killer. Like, there's no way she's not. So, I wasn't disappointed with the reveals. I was actually more proud of myself for guessing Amber since literally the beginning. I was like, oh, hell yeah. It's like I am kind of smart. But then we get Richie's reveal, and honestly, like, I wasn't expecting Richie to be a killer. There were certain scenes, especially when he gets his arm slashed. It reminds me of Jill in Scream 4
Hmm.
when she just gets her arm slashed, and I was like, a little light bulb went off. I wasn't like, oh, he's the killer, but I was just like, interesting. That as soon as I saw, it, I was like, that's just like Jill in Scream 4, and then
Hmm.
it makes sense because he's a killer. So I really wasn't expecting him. Like when he stabbed Sam, I was just like, oh my god. Oh, before we even get to there, I really love when Sydney's walking through the house and she's just shooting through the doors, not even checking them. And she has her phone call with Ghostface, and she's just like, I'm bored, and then hangs up. I was like, she doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And she's shooting, shoots at the door. Richie gets shot in the leg, and so when Ghostface appears and they like fall off, and she's like, Richie, get the gun, and he's like, I would be a lot faster if you didn't shoot me in the leg. And then so they get down there, and then he stabs Sam, and that's our second killer.
Yeah. Like I agree. Like I literally loved how she was like on board and he's like, no, wait, like like didn't even have fucking any sort of time.
No, and
And
she
then I mean,
like just wasn't even like, it didn't seem like she was even scared. She was just like come on. She has the balls to just be like, I'm bored. Bye.
yeah. Right, exactly. Like she's been through this shit so much. It's like she just did not give a shit in this
No, she
movie.
just wants
You
it
could
over.
like you can just tell that she was there. She was gonna figure who the hell this was like, and then like that was it. It was done. Like it's over with, right? Like what do you call it? So Sound Painter, he says, and I'm seeing a couple saying that Amber, a lot of people actually guessed Amber. Another thing that did kind of give her away and made her kind of obvious is where the fuck was she? Like, she wasn't really in this movie a whole lot. Like, you know, it's like we saw Wes, we saw like even like at the party, we were with Chad and Mindy for a little while. Like, where the hell was she the entire movie? Like, you know, it's like so that kind of like to me was like, okay, she's definitely in on this. Richie's was a very, very big reveal because like he was so goddamn likable the whole movie, like just the whole time, his commentary, like everything about him. And I was like, unfortunately, he's not going to be so likable when we find out that he's the killer. Like, you know, and yeah, his reveal was definitely cool because it's like, you know, she's like, Richie, get the gun. He's like, yeah, working on it. You know, he's like coming down the steps. And then he has a knife. He does have a knife. Because I think Sam picks it up, if I remember correctly. So Sam picks it up, and then he has a knife, and then boom, he stabs Sam. And I was just like, he was like, Sam, thank God. Boom. Yeah. Like, I was like, fucking A, man. Like, come on. I was really hoping,
you motherfucker.
I was really hoping I was wrong on that. I was hoping I was wrong, but I was not.
Nope.
It made me so upset. But I mean, like, he was able to turn that switch like really quick. And I liked how when they got to the kitchen, like Sydney must have had PTSD because, like, I mean, like, of the flat, she was literally in like the exact same position. But I liked how the camera angle of him even looking down on Sydney was very much like Billy and Stu were in the original. So, you know, that was definitely cool. I did like, okay, I shouldn't say I didn't hate the reveals in this movie. I liked Richie's reveal, did not like Amber's reveal. Richie's reveal was pretty shocking. And it really, I genuinely was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, genuinely, I was so upset.
But like, what I like about it too, though, is like, in my opinion, when I'm looking at these two, for me, Amber is the Billy, and then Richie is the Stu. Even though Richie's taking on Billy's role of being the boyfriend, you know, and Amber's just a friend. But I really like that because I feel like they do make it almost appear kind of obvious that Amber is the killer, but that's the same thing from the original Scream. Like, they make it so obvious that Billy is the killer just for there to be that second reveal that he was working with Stu the whole time.
Right.
So I really liked it. And Girly Gore, the YouTube video I watched earlier, she said something that I was just like, oh, that's kind of interesting. You know, it's like the way they made it seem, it's like, it's almost too obvious, you know, that like who the killers could be. Like, it's almost too obvious. And then you're probably thinking that they probably wouldn't go in that direction because it's too obvious, but then they did. So I don't know. I was just like, you know, that's kind of cool. It does remind me of like Spiral in a way, to where it's like, I knew who the killer was in Spiral once they showed a certain spot, but I kind of liked it that it wasn't like this crazy huge reveal like in the original, because again, like, nothing's going to top that original reveal. So even though it was kind of obvious who it was, I thought it was still interesting because I'm sure they knew it was obvious as well. So it's like, oh, that can't be it. No, it actually is it. So here you go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And like the whole third act, I mean, after the reveals, I had a lot of fun with the remainder of the third act. You know, I wish, and I know I've told you this, but I wish that there was a little bit more of the Ghostface costume, like prior to the reveal. You know, like I just feel like that they were already uncostumed, and you know, I mean, even though in the original Scream 2, Billy was already out of the costume, Stu was out of the costume, there was the reveal, right? But I don't know why. I just really like when like the killer like takes off the mask and it's like, oh shit, like there
Mickey
they
from
are.
part 2, or Jill from part 4, even like Roman, he does the whole. I do love that.
Yeah.
But it is also interesting to think like they didn't do that in the original. Like the only one that was in the original towards the end is Sydney herself, and she does like a reveal.
Yeah. So
that would have been pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I mean, Amber, she has like her little, but we already know it's Amber. But honestly, when she showed back up, I was like, oh my god, is there a third one? Just because I wasn't expecting her to be in costume, but then she took it off. I was like, oh, it's just Amber.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, are we watching 3 killers?
Right.
But no, it was just Amber.
Yeah. So Amber was like, so she pretty much was out of costume. Like, I mean, that would just be so exhausting, you know, to like be out of costume. Oh, I got to go get the costume on again. Okay.
Oh, gotta go change.
Gotta go change real quick. And
I guess you would just go up to her room though, because it is her house.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that too, you know. Same thing with Stu. It happened because also another thing that at one point I was like, oh my god, could it be Tara? I mean, I was like, that seems like they put her through a lot just to make it seem like it's not her. But I was just like, hey, because why do they have to go there for the inhaler? I was like, I leaned over to my boyfriend. I was like, Tara might be the killer because it's her inhaler. But I like that because they already established earlier that she has a second inhaler at Amber's house. And then Richie was the one that took Tara's inhaler from her to get them to Amber's house. I was like, that's pretty smart. Another thing that I was thinking about earlier was when they're doing their whole spiel and she's sitting there saying like how everyone knew that Sam was Billy's daughter because her mom's a drunk. And they set that up in the first scene because she's like, oh, are you from like an AA group talking to Ghostface thinking it's her boyfriend's mom. So I was just like thinking about that. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool because while I'm watching it, I wasn't thinking about how they already established this earlier. So I think with more viewings, it's going to be really fun trying to piece together like all these little things that they were already saying before we get to the third act.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I'm definitely gonna find myself watching this movie. Like I was telling you the other night, the week that this comes on like 4K Blu-ray, I'm gonna have it on like repeat, like in my house, like probably the entire week. I mean, I had a great time with this movie, and I loved the so the one of the things that was showcased in the trailers or in at least the TV spots, the metal Ghostface mask. We gotta talk about this because they had the shot in the kitchen of somebody on fire, which we see in the movie, and that's Amber, right? Like that's like Gail shoots the stove and boom, ignites her on fire, which is fucking awesome, by the way. I love that. But the whole metal Ghostface mask, like I wasn't sure what they were going to do, like with that, how he was going to get a metal Ghostface mask or whatever. But no, that was just from Stab 8, and that was we get a little Easter egg from Dead Meat in this movie. We see James A. Janice and Chelsea Rebecca, and they're giving commentary on Stab 8 and how he's like literally running around like with like the muscle shirt on and like the pitchfork or whatever. It's ridiculous. So like honestly, like because I saw the picture on IMDb of whatever. I saw the picture of like the muscle or whatever. I'm like, so we like, and that threw me off, you know. See, that's why, guys, y'all shouldn't assume anything. Don't assume anything about anything until you see it.
Well, I figured that it was going to be a Stab movie because I was just like, I don't know, this just feels too out of place to be in the Scream. To see him in that mask, I think it would have just been kind of odd. So I was happy that it wasn't a Stab movie, but I was even more happier that Dead Meat showed up. Literally, I was freaking out.
I know,
was
right?
Like, oh my god, no way! And I almost wore my Dead Meat hoodie too. There's like no fucking way. And then another thing that was pointed out to me by Josh from Camp Blood Media, he had sent me a thing that confirms that Kirby is alive. During that Dead Meat thing, you see, because someone actually took a picture of it, and so I was able to like fully look at it. The first video was interview with survivor Kirby.
That's
And I was just
awesome.
like, fuck yes. And then another thing we see when Dewey first goes to call Sydney, I believe, you see Kirby in his like recently calls. So
Oh,
we get it's confirmed Kirby is alive. She's not fucking dead.
yo,
I'm
that
so
I mean,
happy.
hey, they could technically make another one, and she can come back and now
I
help
was
out.
thinking that
You
like she
know,
could be the new, like, instead of them, if they wanted to do this, instead of getting Sydney and Gail back, they could just bring Kirby back to help them.
true. I mean, they could. But at least we got some sort of confirmation that she is alive, you know, and I like how it wasn't just like, oh, she's alive. It's like it's Easter eggs in
It's
there that you
literally
have
small
to,
shit.
yeah, you have to pay attention to, and I really, really like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Another thing, another one of those videos recommended, the very bottom one, it said, is Stu Mocker still alive? That was another video recommendation. Another one was like stab 8 kills ranked worst to worst. And then another one was like ranking, it was another sort of like ranking video or something like that. I was like trying to read all of them. But the last one was, is Stu Mocker still alive? And I was just like,
Interesting.
because like I wonder if they're doing that to maybe hint at something or just to put that in there because people have been speculating that Stu would be a killer in this one. So I was like, huh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that is really. Can you send me that image? Like, do
Yeah,
you
I will.
have
I
it?
saved it. Yeah,
Okay,
I will.
send it to. I really want to look at that. That's interesting. Like, you know, that's cool to see that, you know, Kirby's alive, and I mean that's something that a lot of fans were obviously, you know, hoping for, and honestly, a lot of people were hoping that she was gonna make some sort of appearance in this movie, and maybe even the directors were maybe hoping that people would think that she was maybe in on it if like she called Dewey, or I don't know, like just like little stuff. I mean, I I wouldn't think that she was going to be in on it or anything like that. But yeah, like I thought that is really cool, and I wish I would have caught that in the theater. But I will definitely be looking at it, like, you know, in later
Oh
viewings, and be
yeah.
like, oh shit,
I
that's
can't wait to study this movie. Like when it comes out, like you said, like I'm going to definitely watch it a couple of times, like really closely, like pausing to look at every single thing to really try to like make like all these little pieces and try to put them together because I don't know. It's so much fun to actually do it with like a new Scream movie to actually like think about where was the killer for this? Who killed who? How does this work? Does it actually work? You know, like does it make complete logical sense with the killings, how it did in like the original? So
Mhm.
I'm really excited to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, I mean that's honestly absolutely awesome. So in terms of like just that and then the commentary on Stab 8 kind of like, you know, throwing me off for like a little while. I was like, okay, so there's the metal Ghostface mask. It's the regular mask, guys. There's no metal mask in this movie. The way that it was shot though in the trailer or in the TV spot made it look like that they had a flamethrower and
Mm-hmm.
that was like actually in the movie, but it's not. Amber definitely, she gets her ass beat. I mean badly, like very badly, and then fucking gets lit on fire, which is just amazing. Which leads to that final confrontation with Sam and Richie, which I very much enjoyed. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, I wasn't sure what she was looking at first when like she was on the ground and Richie was like, you know, on like when they were in like the final piece of the fight. At first I thought she was looking at the umbrellas and I thought it was going to be like a callback to her stabbing, but then I was like, oh, there's the knife or whatever. Um and I really actually liked if there was a scene that I really liked with Billy, like, you know, it was like the shadow on the floor or whatever, wherever it was,
I think it was like the
um,
wall
or the
or
wall
something.
or some, I don't know.
It's here and then the knife is like down there.
Yeah, wherever it was, but I really did like how he was like almost like giving her like permission
Like
to,
the
you
okay
know,
to do
like the
it.
okay
Yeah.
to go ahead and fucking do it. Um and fucking Richie's comment, like, you know, like before like she was like actually going to kill him, he goes, wait, wait, wait. what about my ending? Like,
Yeah.
you really think she gives a fuck, buddy?
Yeah, like this is your ending,
Yeah, this is
motherfucker.
your ending. This is it for you. You are done for. You're dead. And she too just kept going fucking crazy. She was like, yeah, there's also one thing that you should know. What's that? Don't fuck with the daughter of a serial killer. And I was like, oh,
And
damn.
then just bam, bam, bam. And I love that knife to the face, which I figured that was coming because he's like on top of her. And the way it's like framed, I was like, oh man, he's about to get a knife through this, like through his face. And it happened. I was like, yes. I was so happy. But she goes to town on him. She definitely overkills, which I really love. And I love whenever Gail and Sydney walk in and she was just like stabbing the fuck out of him. Just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No, I mean that entire thing was like that was all done really well. And then I also love the Psycho callback, like, you know, like when Richie was down, like how Amber like actually like came like walking around like literally like Mother from Psycho and fucking got blasted. Like, or
Yeah, Tara.
yeah,
Shoots
Tara.
her. It's still fucking, or something like it's still the Babadook.
Yeah.
Calling back to the opening about
Yeah.
her favorite, I was just like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. No, I mean, and I love like even the end, like, you know, Sam obviously accepts like, you know, Sydney's help and like how she walks up to her and, you know, says thank you and all of that. And then the exact same pull-out shot of like the house, like from the original movie, is like being done with the reporter in the front of the house.
Yes, with the reporter and everything.
Yeah, it's not Gail, but it's a reporter reporting on it. And, you know, like I loved that, like how it was the exact same shot of the pullback of revealing the house. I will say I wish like when Sam was like in the hallway and they do that like tilt shot like out like revealing the house. I wish that we would have gotten like a full look. Like I think it cuts, you know.
Yeah.
I wish like that we would have gotten like a full on like frontal view of just that house. Like we really don't see it until the end. Like we see the inside, we see the kitchen, we see a lot of other places like where you know, Richie, he even says like the I'll be right back. And like and Minnie's like yeah, he's dead.
Which someone else pointed out earlier how it's just kind of interesting when the characters that have said I'll be right back, they've been the killer. Stu says it in the original, Roman says it in the third one, and then he says it in this one. So it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also, we didn't talk about the scene, but I fucking love this scene. It was a scene whenever, hold on, what's your name? I'm gonna learn them sometime. Hold on. Mindy. God. Whenever, wait, is it Mindy? Yes, when Mindy is watching Stab while the party's gone and she's just there by herself, she's watching Stab, and it's the scene with Randy watching Halloween.
Yeah.
And saying, behind you, and she's sitting there behind you. Oh, come on, you should know this. These are your rules. And Ghostface is right behind her.
I know, right?
And she just stops, just looks up. I fucking loved that scene.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's so just, like, because that's her uncle. Well, not really her uncle because it's the Stab movie, but it's, like, she's watching her uncle's role, and then she's in the exact same role, and I love that she does, like, actually, like, look behind her, because it's not like she sees, like, a reflection or anything like that. She just, like, gets that feeling. She's like, oh, looks up. I fucking love that. And I also love that Chad lived. I thought that was a good, like, nod to, like, Dewey from the first one or from, like, the second one, because I really thought he was dead.
I thought so too.
Especially because you do see that in the trailer, him running and Ghostface coming up. So I thought he was a goner, and he lived, and he's in the the ambulance and gives her a thumbs up, and I was just like, it's just like Dewey, and I got emotional all over again.
Yeah, no, I mean, like that was cool to see both of them live for sure, you know, like just to see the twins are alive, you know, the Meekses are still going strong, and they're still just as obsessed with movies and everything.
Just like their uncle.
I will be curious to see if I mean, me personally, I think this is it. I think that this would be a really satisfying ending. I don't think we need to see another one. If we did see another one, I'm guessing that Sydney and Gale would be done. And I think that it would just strictly follow Sam and, maybe Tara.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we need another one. I think that this is a really satisfying ending. I think 5 of them are perfect. I was actually even hesitant after Scream 4 with them making another one. So when they announced this movie, I was so nervous. And I know we talked about this briefly when we were talking about the development of this, like how it was, going through, how it was gonna come back and like how it was going to come out in January. I was so nervous about that, but I'm so happy to say I was not disappointed in this movie at all. I think that there are some elements that are weaker than some of the other moments in the franchise, sure, but to have a good 5th movie, it's amazing. It's like good to know that all of the Scream movies are still fun in their own right, even the weaker ones of the franchise. They're still fun. You can still watch them and just have a good time with them. But I mean that I would be fine if this is it. Like,
Yeah, I'm there with you. If this was the last one with this storyline, I would be okay. Do I think at some point they're going to like remake it and like reboot the whole franchise with a whole new slate? I think it's bound to happen. But with Sydney and Gail, like if this was their end, I would be fine. Mainly
yeah.
because I don't want to see another one of them go. I don't want that to happen. I couldn't handle it.
Mhm.
So with this being that final one, and I really love that whenever Gail was like, "Oh, I have something to write about," and then Sydney was like, "What?" She's like, "Not this," and she's like, "I want to write about like a man," and she's like talking about Dewey, which I started crying again. I was just like, "Wow, I'm like this is sweet." And also, we didn't even really talk about the killer's motives. Like,
Oh yeah, the motives.
yeah,
Let's break it down. So the killer's motives in this is, it's, if I recall correctly, is Richie was hoping that it's just like what, like a requel, and he was gonna pin it all on Sydney, right? Like that was like, isn't that like what he was gonna do?
yeah,
Like,
and then Amber's talking about how like stab bait. It's pretty much, which also I saw something. It's like how like far fans will go and how like passionate fans are and how like angry they
yeah,
get with movies. And then
yeah,
I saw a comment earlier that again, everyone that was like really upset about the movie and mad, and they're like, this is exactly what they're commenting on. I was just like, interesting, just like how upset we get when when we get a new movie and it's not what we want, and how like with Halloween Kills, for example, like I was so upset, but that's pretty much what they're commenting on, is like how bad Stab 8 was and how pissed off fans were about that movie. And so they're trying to make,
yeah,
a new movie. They have connections to the original because you have to have a connection to the original. And the whole part, whenever they're like, in our movie has fucking stakes because they killed Dewey,
mm-hmm.
which then once we left the theater, I was talking to my boyfriend and I started crying again because I was like, like so many people complained with Scream 4 that none of the 3 got killed off, because like, well, what's the point? They're saying like part 4 didn't have any stakes, and then I was just like, they knew exactly what they were doing with that line because they killed one of them off. This movie has stakes, like they did it. And I
Yeah,
was just like, oh my god, it's like y'all wanted this and y'all got it. I was like, and I didn't want this, man. I would have been
yeah,
happy if none of them died, but it was
right,
just so interesting to see because um like whenever Scream 4 came out, like I know a lot of people weren't happy with Jill's motive and how she wants to be famous. Like she doesn't want to work. She just wants to be famous for going through this. And people were like, oh, like whatever, like the motive isn't that good, but like that motive lives on. I feel like that motive is more accurate today than it was, 11 years ago at this point. Like
yeah,
it makes sense because that's how people are now. They just want to be famous for not doing anything. And I feel like this motive, even if a lot of people aren't necessarily happy with it now, like I feel like it's because we're looking at ourselves, It's like we are those fans. We are exactly what she's saying and how Amber's like losing her shit, and I really like that because she does come like fully unhinged, and I was just like, damn, it's what we feel with these movies. It's just being pissed off and wanting to have your perfect movie.
Literally. I mean, that's like basically it. It's like just like looking at even how people are reacting to this. It's they're being
Yeah,
toxic about this movie,
exactly.
and it's wild. But no, Chris actually put it in like one sentence for me. Thank you, Chris. So yeah, he was gonna kill Sydney and frame Sam since she was the daughter of Billy. Which yeah, I mean it made sense, and then like the whole like reboot and like how the toxic fandom and all that shit was kind of playing along into it. Like we see so much of that, and like they were like, "This is the movie that we want to see," so this is how we're doing it. Like and they too had that fucked up twist or that fucked up not twist, but the like twist in their mind that this is just a movie, but they're actually killing people.
Yeah.
It's like even Sam was like, this isn't a movie, like and that kind of brought me back to Sydney telling Billy like this is a movie, like this is
This isn't a movie.
life,
This is
right?
real life.
So which is weird when we're watching them perform like this as a movie. But yeah, like I really think that it relates to today for sure. But I can also see why some people might be disappointed with the motives and everything, but I definitely thought that it was relevant to today.
Yep.
So
I really enjoyed it actually when they were like explaining it all and everything, and as soon as Amber said like their movie has stakes and stuff, I was just like, damn, they're taking stuff from like Scream 4, like the reviews of Scream 4, and they're putting in this movie, and I thought it made sense, like I did not want Dewey to go, but whenever she said that, I was just like, damn, like it makes sense as to why it happened because they're showing like they're serious. And then I really like that like they're sitting there saying like, oh, these people like they're not going down in history, or like pretty much this is just going to be like a thing. And then with like today's like culture, it's like one tragedy happens and then like the next day it's everything's fine again, and then something else happens, and it's like I feel like we're just so desensitized, especially to like true crime stuff because like so many people are into true crime. When something like that happens, like it's going to be a hot topic for like 2 seconds, and then it's going to be nothing, so they're not going to be remembered like Billy and Stu ever.
no, not at all. And I don't think that anyone is ever going to come close to Billy and Stu as like the killers. I mean, that they're the ones that kickstarted the
So
entire
good.
thing. Without them, it would be literally nothing. There would be no copycat Ghostface. There would be nobody running around in a costume like this. I mean, they are the ones that started it all. And the whole thing of Ghostface is all from them. And like I just think that it's amazing. I love the costume. I love the look of Ghostface. I like everything in terms of the character. Yeah. So
Yeah, I feel like Ghostface was super menacing in this one. The way they shot him, especially like in that opening, after Tara like kicks him and he like falls back and stuff, and then when he stands up and it's like slowly, and the way it's just so like focused on him, I was just like, oh my god. Same thing in the hospital. Like I feel like they do it to where he's like kind of moving like a little bit slowly, like slowly rising up. I was like, damn. Because to me, like Ghostface isn't that scary, but I feel like this one it definitely made him menacing and made him brutal. Because like Scream 4, I think Olivia's death is definitely the most brutal, one of the most brutal death scenes in the whole franchise.
mhm.
But I feel like this movie, even though it wasn't necessarily over the top bloodbath, except for Dewey's, there was a lot of blood. There was a lot of blood. But besides that, like, they weren't super crazy. There was a lot of stabbing and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like the deaths in this one were pretty solid all around. Like, pretty much everyone's death scene I thought was pretty great. I really liked how, because in Scream 3, we have the whole thing with the house blowing up. That's like already pre-planned, and Ghostface is like setting up a trap. That one isn't executed as well as I think Judy's was in this one. Like he knew exactly what he was doing. This was a trap just to kill Judy in the first place, and so like I thought that was really smart. I really enjoyed that. There's a lot that I really enjoyed. There's really not much that I didn't like in this movie,
Yeah,
which I'm so grateful for.
I am too. Like I'm really grateful too, because like again, and I know we said this the other night to kind of close out our spoiler-free review, but I mean, I was just thankful that I was able to have a fun time with this movie. I just wanted to see a Scream movie. Just wanted it to be good, and it delivered on everything I wanted it to, and even more. There were some disappointments in the movie, but I mean, there were small little things that I can like kind of just shake off and get over. I understand it, like there are creative decisions that goes into it, and it's always fun to listen to. I really hope that they have a director's commentary. I'd love to hear that on the Blu-ray when it comes out, to see why certain decisions were made. But yeah, I mean, I really had a fun time with this film, and I'm definitely going to be purchasing it, and I will again have it on repeat like the entire first week. We should probably do a watch along with it, like when it comes on Blu-ray too. Kind of give commentary on it as well.
Yeah.
For anybody who's new here this Thursday night, I'll just say this real quick. This Thursday, Destiny and I are doing a Halloween Kills watch party, and we're doing it. It's the drinking edition. So anytime, like Destiny and I are still fine tuning the rules and everything, but as of right now, it's anytime someone says evil dies tonight, you have to drink, and anytime there's a kill, you have to drink. So y'all can expect a pretty fun stream on Thursday.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be wild.
Messy one.
But what do you call it? Yeah, this one, like there's nothing like that's what I love about this movie is that they treat the legacy characters right. And then they also honor all of the films that really came before it, and specifically that original one, which is what I love about it. That's something that I feel like not a lot of horror movies do, and that Scream really did. But then again, you have to think you had Kevin Williamson on board as an executive producer, who was the writer of the original film. You had Nev Campbell. Okay, I mean, I'm kind of like about to just completely throw away my point because John Carpenter was involved with Halloween Kills, and it still came out the way that it was. Like, so like I was about to say, like all my points I was about to make was about to be just thrown like out the window. So, I'm just going to shut up before I sound stupid.
I really feel though with this one, in a way it's different because Wes Craven is no longer with us. And obviously fans are going to be nervous for this movie because we don't have Wes Craven, first one without him. So I really do think they try to handle this movie with like love and care and to really honor him. So like,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like in a way, I definitely what you're saying, but I feel like with the Scream movie, not that like Halloween Kills wasn't passionate or anything, but I feel like everyone really did their best to make sure it would honor Wes Craven. And at the end, when For Wes came up again, I just started crying because I was just like, oh my God, like this is just so, it was so sweet. I definitely feel like it honored him. I feel like this is definitely something he could have done himself. So I'm really happy with what we got.
I'm super happy with what we got. I loved the movie. I mean, like I was thinking about it all day yesterday. I saw it Thursday night. I couldn't get it out of my head yesterday. I was hanging out with Misael again last night, who went with me to see it on Thursday. And I mean, him and I were even talking about it even more. And like we both really had a fun time with it. My sister had a fun time with it. She also went. And that's like that's the most that you can ask for is like, if you are a fan of this franchise and you are up to speed with modern horror, I personally think that you should really enjoy this movie. I think that it is a gigantic love letter specifically to the first movie, but I really enjoyed everything that I saw. And the little critiques are just little critiques that I saw that, just from a fan perspective that, I mean, you're going to have like your little criticisms, but it's nothing that I'm just like, oh my fucking gosh, I hated this movie so much because of it. Like, no, it's nothing like that. It's just like little things that could have been tweaked to been like, okay, And specifically just like the whole Amber thing. I wish that she might have been in a little bit, or maybe wasn't as obvious with being the killer, because anytime that she was on screen, I just got major killer vibes from her. Like,
yeah, and another thing that's pretty interesting is that opening, because Tara's texting Amber while this is all happening, but then you find out Amber is the killer, so the whole time, like, that was Amber, texting her off of her phone even as Ghostface. And I was just like, I don't know. It's kind of cool. I'm really excited to watch this again and really look for all those little things.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm really excited to see it again. And that even says a lot. Like, the fact that I'm excited to see it again. Didn't have that same feeling when I saw Halloween Kills for the first time. I was just kind of like, I can wait to watch this movie again. And I just don't, that's just how I felt. Like, I mean, it's the honest truth. You're always going to get honesty from me. And that was my honest opinion when I saw that. Like, I was able to like wait to see it. I did watch it again on that Friday night on Peacock with my friends who hadn't seen it. But like, I was just like, my excitement going into it was my thought going into it was I was hoping my opinion was going to change at the end of it, and it didn't. I like it more each time I watch it, just a little bit. So like, I'm trying to watch it as much as I can. But with this movie, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like I really enjoyed it the first watch. I'm excited to see it again. And based on people having seen it a couple of times, they're saying that it still holds up on a second viewing even. So that's good. Like, I mean, I truly think that this movie is going to be remembered for a long time by fans. So.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Any last minute thoughts or anything like that?
No. Actually, I was just thinking, I'm curious for whenever Dead Meat covers this, what's going to be Golden Chainsaw and Dull Machete. Golden Chainsaw is going to be Dewey.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, but just because there's also such like an emotional tie into it. Dull Machete, maybe Liv, because it is just like a shot,
It is just a gunshot.
Yeah.
We've seen that, and I know exactly what his thought it would be. It's going to be, we've seen that multiple times in movies.
Yeah, we've seen it before. The only thing that it has on it is that it has a little bit of shock value because of the way it comes, but it's still just a gunshot. So yeah, I'm really excited to see that because I feel like it's pretty. Yeah, definitely think Dewey's gonna get the Golden Chainsaw, unfortunately.
Yeah. Rightfully so, though. I mean, not only is he a legacy character that went out, but he literally went out in the most. His death was probably the most brutal of the movie. So that was definitely, it's worthy of it. That's for sure. And it depends. Also, he like that. This might. I don't think that this is an episode where he would do like the platinum whatever he does. Like I mostly see that just come up every now and then. But I wonder if this will be, because aren't they supposed to be going on like a break?
Yeah, they're on it right now.
They are.
And James will be back in the summer. It says he's supposed to be gone like 6 months.
So in terms of like, who's doing the kill count right now? I just saw a new
Zoran.
episode. Who?
One of his like editors, Zoran.
Oh, so like he's in front of the camera doing the kill count?
He's doing the Trimbers kill counts right now, every other week. The podcast is supposed to start back, I think, at the beginning of February because they're getting married this month, and so they're not doing anything. But I think maybe February or something like that, it's going to be a podcast episode 1 week, a Trimbers kill count the next, podcast kill count. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch Zoran and see how he does the kill count.
It was pretty good, honestly. Like, I thought he did pretty well. Yeah.
Really?
He was funny, energetic, charismatic.
Well, that was probably notes that like James probably had to coach him up on it and be like, okay, this is how you do it, just so you know. Like,
and Zoran even wrote like he's writing the scripts for it, and like James is like overseeing them and like giving them advice on them, but he's the one that's writing the Trevor's kill count. So pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you guys all so much for tuning in tonight. We had a great chat section going on. Chris, buddy, I'll pull up your comment here. I saw this. Yeah, take a knife and you slit him from the groin to the sternum. Amber took a page out of Stu's book.
Unfortunately,
Yep.
yeah.
Unfortunately, she did. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that this is a worthy movie, a worthy introduction to the Scream franchise. Again, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. This upcoming week, Destiny, what do you anything you have coming up that you want to tell the audience about?
Oh, tomorrow I'll be on Goodwill Hunting's channel for Back from the Dead. I believe that's at 11 a.m. my time, so it's going to be in like the afternoon. So we'll be doing that. Besides that, though, besides what we have going on, I don't think so.
Yeah, this week, guys, tomorrow I'm going to be doing the Killers Ranked. So you guys have that coming tomorrow. On Monday night, I'm going to be going live with Destiny for Fear Freaks podcast, episode number 7. Can't believe we're on episode 7 already. That's crazy. And we're going to be ranking the Scream franchise. We're going to give commentary. I know Destiny and I are going to have a certain movie in the franchise ranked higher than the other.
Yeah.
But what do you call it? Then on Thursday, we've got I think on Tuesday I'll probably have the openings ranked, the Scream openings ranked of the franchise. Thursday is the Halloween Kills drinking party, so be here for that. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, I truly do think we're gonna be messed up.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, just like during those chant scenes alone, the evil dies tonight. Evil, like, I mean,
if we're doing shots, we're gonna have to do like half shots.
Huh?
If we're doing shots, we're gonna have to do like half shots.
Are we doing shots? I was just gonna.
Are we?
I mean, we could. I don't mind. I have vodka,
we
so we could just do.
But they're gonna have, because earlier whenever I was doing the live on my Instagram, one of my friends said that they say it 18 times.
18 times?
I can't do 18 shots. I'm not dying over this.
Yo, okay. First of all, 18 shots. We're not doing. Okay, so we're doing 18 drinks. Okay, we're just gonna do drinks. We're not gonna do shots. So. Funny backstory about my sister who thought she was a champ in college. She this is pre-gaming, took 14 shots between 7 o'clock and like 8:30 and was in the emergency room by like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that shit. Like, and I remember my mom calling me and she goes, like, I was driving to work on a Monday and literally, like, my mom calls me. She goes, "Hey, did you hear what happened to your sister?" I was like, no, like, what the hell happened? I was like expecting something like super serious. I mean, this is like kind of like, serious, but I mean, like, either way, she's a dipshit. Like, my mom was like, the dipshit thought it would be good to take 14 shots pre-gaming to go out because like this is like their homecoming week. Like, we were going into their homecoming week. So she was like, yeah, I'll take 14 shots, and ended up in the freaking emergency room last night. I was like, are you serious? Like, yeah, freaking dipshit. Like,
Yeah, there's no fucking way.
Like, I mean, so 18
I'd be on the
shots,
floor.
Yeah, 18 shots, you would pass out.
I would definitely, yeah, I'd be in that hospital too, man. There's no way.
Yeah. But I mean, she's fine. Like, she still thinks that she's like a master drinker and stuff like that. So, I'm seeing all these like comments right here. Aaron says brain cells die tonight.
You know it.
We got liver dies tonight. Yeah, no, I mean, this is going to be a fun stream, man. So everyone be here. We're going to be doing a watch along. We'll be giving some commentary. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. So I've been having like the little parentheses on the thumbnail. It says drinking edition. So anybody that wants to watch along, make sure you guys have you guys, again, will not be able to, I'll reiterate this on Thursday. You guys will not be able to see the movie on the screen with us. You guys have to either own it or just listen to the commentary, whatever. I don't care what you guys do. But if you guys want to be here, it's going to be a lot of fun. So, but yeah, guys, be sure, if you guys are watching this review at a later date, be sure to leave comments down below. Let us know what you guys think of Scream 2022. Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys just kind of find it I'm sure that you guys all have different thoughts on it. Destiny, any last minute thing that you want to say before? Mikey G is actually asking what time on Thursday. It's going to be 7 p.m. Central Time. That's normally when Destiny and I shows run from. So,
any last thoughts? No, not really.
no last minute thoughts. So
I love Scream 5. Yay!
Same.
That's my last thought.
Yep, same. All right, guys. Well, then you guys all have a fantastic rest of your guys' weekend. Be sure to look forward to more videos very soon. And if you guys like this, don't forget to join me on my journey to 10,000 subscribers. And we will see you guys here in the next few videos this week. Lots to come. So have a great weekend. Talk to you guys soon.